Carolyn, right? God, everybody. Billy. Oh my God. I always go Vishnu.
Yeah.
But it's
Vikas.
Vikas. Okay.
Don't worry, I'm Eva.
I know. And this young gentleman always gets called Tim by me, but I know he's Matthew. So anyway, and welcome everybody. This is going to be the number 4 session that we're taping. We were discussing this as you walked in, and you probably heard most of it. Carolyn, you didn't. So effectively, if most of the time my modus operandi is when I call on the next person, if there's a discussion of any type, I go by name. But what was said here is that somebody may not want to be identified. So chances are, if there is going to be any kind of discussion, I just look and then you'll have to talk. Because I absolutely, that's the way I always am. I just, I feel a person's name is important, and so therefore I try to remember everybody's name. Somehow or other I always fail with Matthew. But anyway.
Hey, you've got it now.
I got it, finally.
But when the camera's on, you're going to say Tim.
Oh, God, don't even say that.
I just fed that to her.
Right. But anyway, today, what the format is going to be pretty simple. We are going to have, I'm going to give just a quick breakdown of my step 5 in Own Your Power. Step 5 is August 1 through August 31st. And if it sounds a little bit disjointed, it's only because I took the last sentence or the forming idea in that day's meditation, and then I went on. So I'm going to go as long as I can, and without belaboring it, though, because as soon as Victoria comes, she's going to come somewhere between 8 and 8:30. I would like to start on the meditation for Syria, because truly this is such an important time. This is a very pivotal moment in the history of the world, and it could be effectively in the history of the universe, because I do know positively that when they detonated the atomic bomb, the powers that be actually cut a rift in the time-space continuum, and the reverberation of that was literally felt throughout the universe. And so effectively, if we were to go into something else that escalated out of control, it would have the same effect, if not worse. But we have been absolutely promised by Source that the existing powers on Earth will not be allowed to blow up the planet. That already was done with the planet in our solar system. That's what the asteroid belt is. And so effectively, though everything that I see, everything that I read, I constantly send images of love to. I constantly send images of light to. I was just given a certification yesterday of the oneness blessing giver. Gina's one, Carolyn, you're one. I don't think anybody else here is one, but if you get an opportunity to do that, Lizette Thomas is the leader of that. She does it in Arlington. She specifically mentioned you, Eva, that she would love to see you.
I do this with Vajana. I do it daily. I didn't attend any course by Lizette, but I have it written down. I read it daily.
Good. So it's just part of your your energy. Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to start off today's class with session with the Nelson Mandela's inaugural address, because to me, it gives you the best possible indication of what section step 5 is about in my book. And I call my book really Simple Abundance Meets Conversations with God. If I had to do a 30-second elevator speech on it, Simple Abundance was a daily meditation every single day by Sarah Brethnack. Sarah, in roughly 10 years ago, and it was on her everyday stuff, but it was it was a beautifully written book. And then Conversations with God came out in the 90s and continued for 17 books. So, but every single one of the meditations that I have effectively take you back into oneness, take you back into the source. So it works out perfectly with the theme of my life, and which is one of total service. And it's interesting because every single person that seems to end up at Rays of Healing permanently is one who dedicates their life to service, because they end up being the teachers. And we've certainly recognized that. But I'm going to just give you these, and so pass them around. Go this way, this way. And the irony to Nelson Mandela's speech is I've been, for years, I'd get into arguments with people about the authorship of this speech, because this is on the cover of Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love. And I kept thinking, if it's on the back cover, how can it be Nelson Mandela's speech? And yet anybody who credited, just as this, whoever did this, whoever credited Nelson Mandela with this, argued vehemently that this was his. Well, before I walked out the door today, I actually asked my husband, welcome, and for the, just to sit down and Google, when Nelson Mandela had gave his speech. His inaugural address occurred in May of 1994. The publication date of Return to Love was 1992. So effectively, 1992 came first. So Nelson, and then as soon as I found that out, I put the two side by side. I took the book and I read both of the back cover, and I read this. And what I discovered is that he removed two of the sentences, two small sentences, and then he also, where she had a comma and continued a sentence, he made it a new sentence. So anyway, but I'm just going to read.
So she's the
this.
true author.
She's the author.
Yes.
Exactly. She is the author of this. But like I said, people have argued to the death about the fact that, no, this was Nelson Mandela's speech, and she took it from him. But anyway, I love this speech. I think it's fantastic. Our worst fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the glory of God within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And the two short sentences that were eliminated, again, didn't add or subtract, you know, from this. So, but now you can alter it yourself, because you know what the truth is. So, anyway, all right. We had, it's Marianne Williamson is the true author of that. We had another incident that happened to us last week, and three of us that it happened to are present here today. Eva, Kara, and myself, and which also illustrated the topic for today, which is choose yourself. And the way it turned out was that I had been given a request by a client to meet him at 6 p.m. So I got here at 5:30 thinking, well, that's fine. This is Monday. I had Bojana on my schedule to send long distance healing to. So I said, I'll do that for half an hour, and we'll give, and then my client will walk in at 6. Well, 6 came and went. He never showed. 10 after or 5 after, the door opens, and I have the slider shut. And so all of a sudden, the slider's being moved, and there's Eva going, oh, there's a, you know, and I could hear the voices. And then behind her come Kara and Wendy. And as they walk in the door, I just, you know, we laughed about it because in their confusion, because Wanda was speaking and it was the third Monday of the month, they had thought that she was going to do channeling that day. Because I think she may have done it once or twice, you know, where she altered it or something. But anyway, the long and short of it is, she was not scheduled to channel that day. But Bojana then also was scheduled to arrive. She is the one who desperately needed healing. The 4 of us were there to give her healing. And I thought, this is by divine assignment, as everybody showed up to do this. And the thing that amused me more than anything was the fact that as we set, you know, as Bojana sat down, she actually put her legs, I think, into your lap.
Yeah,
She
on my tummy.
Right. She put her legs into Eva's lap, and then I had the vision that each of the 4 of us were overshadowed by an ascended master. You were overshadowed. Eva was overshadowed by Christ. Kara was by the Blessed Mother. I was by St. Michael, and Wendy was by St. Raphael. And so typically, I would have Christ and and Mary, like, as like behind Bojana. And then Wendy and I would have been this way. But for whatever reason, Kara and I were kind of straddled this way, so Wendy went and sat across Bojana's legs and literally straddled her. And in the process of straddling her, there was a certain force of root energy that went, you described it, that it went through her and into Bojana. That
through me, you know, because she really
pressed
on my tummy with her feet.
Right, and then when Wendy sat on it, it
That
even
was
pressed
a-
more. Right. So then I thought, you know, I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, talk about the perfection of spirit. Bojana got exactly what she needed. The 4 of us showed up. My client didn't show. So so we were all available for her. And so I just I thought it was wonderful, and I thought somehow or other, within that time frame, we had all, had agreed to do this healing for her. And so Spirit had set it up for us to do this. But anyway, so that's what I wanted to share about that. Hi there, welcome. Now, to get back to the different steps, the different articles in the section. Welcome. How are you? Elizabeth, right?
Yes.
Wonderful.
This is George.
George,
Oh.
welcome. There's a saying in the Course in Miracles that contradicts a very common saying in the Bible, because there's a biblical saying that says, many are called, but few are chosen. And A Course in Miracles totally contradicts that and says, no, it's all are called, few choose to listen. And so I felt that kind of like set the theme for what I was talking about, choosing yourself to do the work that we do. Here, if you just give her this too, I really appreciate it. And that's in the text, it's in chapter 3. And it gives us a feeling for what it's like to have us answer the call of Spirit, because we effectively are all given a message to serve. I know when I had my own personal conversation with God that I published in God is the Biggest Joker of All, he said, you come to this planet for 3 reasons. You come here to learn to love unconditionally, you come here to learn to forgive, and you come here to learn to serve your fellow man. And so effectively, what I've discovered is if you're in a job and you may be very successful in that job, and you may be very happy in that job, but if that job is not the call of your soul, you will be fired. Once, twice, or 6 times. You will be fired. Because if your sole contract was to do something where your service to Spirit is, and the word I'm getting is guaranteed, because God is supporting that, then the universe is going to conspire everything against you about staying in the job that you're in. I mean, I know one person who is probably the hardest working person that I've ever met in my life. She's been fired 6 times. And she just now, hopefully, landed in a position where her skills are going to be fully utilized. Because she has the ability to critique a company, because she's been in every single position in a company. And she has so she has the ability to be effectively, I guess you would call them an efficiency expert, or somebody that could look and evaluate as to what is going wrong with a company.
One term for that is she's a good appraiser.
Well, she's very good at criticizing. So that's an excellent way to put it. But anyway, she's wondering. There have been times where she said it in a joking manner, but I know she meant it. She said the only person that I have not attracted in my life is a psychopath. Because she felt she attracted, because her last boss she called a sociopath. So she said, I have to change whatever it is that I'm doing that's attracting these people, because I don't want to go to that next step. I don't want to be in that place of attracting the wrong type of person in my life. And also she was very tired of being a victim. She finally got to the point where she said, enough. I want to go on. The very first words in the manual for teachers asks a question, who are God's teachers? And it answers it with the answer of anyone who wants to be. Effectively, you choose yourself. Nobody chooses you. And the irony to the follow-up to the statement is that he also says that the person who has chosen to be one of God's teachers may not necessarily believe in God, may not even know that he's made that commitment to serve God. But there's been something inside of him where he's taken his interests and put them behind the interests of his fellow man. So he's changed the direction of his life. I know when I became serious about my spiritual path, which was somewhere between 1994 and 1995, and I prayed to God to send me a teacher. By 1998, I was introduced to Wanda. So that was the gift the universe gave me, and I feel that was probably the greatest gift I've ever been given, because Wanda is the person who taught me to trust myself. And it was in the process of trusting myself that I was able to understand that the messages I received were valid, and in the process of understanding that the messages were valid, I got more. And I got more, and I got more. And so then I was able to take every single person and give give them the best that I had to offer. And I know now when I give readings, because I ask to be connected to your higher self, I'm not quite done. Okay. We'll switch places when you're ready to come up here. I do know that before Wanda even set up the ministers for us, I subscribed to Tara Krista's website, and they offered a gentleman that came up, Dan Chesborough, who came up from New York, or came down from New York, and he offered to ordain the participants in the Order of Melchizedek. So I did that because I totally identified with the energy of Melchizedek, and I feel very strongly connected to the energy of Melchizedek. I know Gina did the same. I don't know if anybody else here has, and then Gina's going to be ordained in September through Rays of Healing too. But anyway, the other thing that I just wanted to go through, besides A Course in Miracles, there have been many, many books that have influenced me, but they're usually, I usually received a nugget of information from each book. There was a period in my life where I kept thinking, maybe in the 80s, when I was starting to read voraciously. I mean, I would literally inhale books. And I kept thinking that, oh my God, if I can just latch on to the right one, it'll solve all my problems, because it'll give me the answers. And very quickly I realized no book gave me the answers. Each book gave me one nugget, one bit of information that was good for me, one thing that I could latch on to. But I did, since I started studying A Course in Miracles, that has literally become the foundation of my spiritual belief. Because since December of 1995, I have literally read the entire text 4 times. I've done the lessons 8 times, and I've read other portions of it too. So that's one book that I can't recommend enough. The other book that I felt that influenced me greatly was Ask Your Angels by Alma Daniel, Timothy Wiley, and Andrew Raymer. Because in it they offer 42 meditations, and the meditations, at the end of the time that you read the book, the meditations literally promise you that you will be able to communicate with your angels. And it's not that I started to communicate with my angels, because I've literally heard spirits since I was 8 years old, and I was journaling. I had been journaling since I was 21. But what that book did for me was the fact that I was able to ask who was speaking to me. And that was also at the same time, Wanda had given me the same suggestion. Because she'd asked me, well, who did you get this from? And my basic answer was, I don't know. She said, well, ask. So, and they promised that they would let you know. So that's why I feel that Ask Your Angels is very, very important. Let's see. Once in a while, you're going to find that the lesson that you get is not for your learning, it's for somebody else's learning. And I know when I ask for lessons, I don't want to take them half-heartedly. If I need to do a clearing, I want it to be a clearing. I just don't want to waste my time. I wanted to have the maximum amount of energy that my body could process, and to release whatever debris was, building up inside of me, or had built up inside of me over the years. I do know that there was one time during a healing session with Wanda that I took, she basically asked me, how deep do you want to go? And I said, as deep as possible, was my reply. And she took me, as it turned out, she took me into the birthing process. And so I literally saw the moment of conception. And as I'm watching the scene, but even more importantly, as I'm feeling the emotions of my father and my mother, and I'm not doing this with any sense of horror, but I had the sense that my father was raping my mother. Even though they were married, I just had the sense that she was so resistant to having sex. And so I thought, okay, this doesn't feel very good. And Sunday, as part of the birthing process and as part of the rebirthing process, in one of the meditations we did at the Oneness Blessing, she had us do the same thing. This time, I got a totally different view. I saw the scene again, but I saw how determined my father was to bring a child into this world. He knew my mother was fertile. He was determined to do it anyway.